All right. Hello again. My name is Kevin Melphant, and this particular series is called But What Does the Bible Say? Right? And this is again with Kevin Melphant. We all have that voice in our head that leads us, that guides us, that we use when we making big decisions. For some, it's that dad's voice that tells you to be practical, right? For others of us, it's that grandma's voice that tells us to respect our traditions. Others have that trusted teacher who's like, follow the facts, trust the facts. A lot of people today, though, world experts is the voice they have in their heads, from the news and the media that says, listen to us. We can be trusted. But what does the Bible say? Because at the end of the day, that's what really matters. It's nice to have all of this other stuff. But this series is designed to bring truth to life and bring clarity as to anchoring you on the Word of God. And so what I would challenge you to say is, what does the Bible say? And today's topic is about holy. You have to go back to the beginning. If you don't go back to in the beginning, none of this really makes sense. So in Genesis 1:1, what you see is in the beginning, God created. Before there was anything, before there was sun, there was moon, there were stars, before there was angels, before anything ever, in the beginning, before time itself began, God was. And when God was, He created. And then from Him came everything else. This is core to the identity of who God is. And what did He create? It says He created the heavens and the earth. So on day number 1, God said, let there be light. And there was light. Now, I have the light here in different colors because what I need you to understand is if God is going to paint the universe, right? As a painter, if you have the paintbrush and you have the canvas, right, and the canvas is blank, and you need to paint, what are you gonna need? You're gonna need color. Oh my goodness, I have an entire study on this that gets so deep into that, but that's all the nuggets I can give you on that part. Einstein spent his entire life studying and asking himself the question of what is light. If you took the white, what's considered white invisible light, and you send it through the spectrum, what that will show to you is all of the rays of light, because light is light waves. If you like comic books, for example, the Hulk, he got his powers because of the gamma rays. There is so much into this light, but we're going to continue on here. So the creation story continues. The second day, God created the skies by separating the waters. Then day number 3, God created land and trees. Day number 4, He created the sun, the moon, the stars, and basically what He can call secondary light to the light He created on day 1. So the sun and the moon and the stars was not what actually used to create day and night. It was something else that was used, and that's a whole nother thing. Again, I have a study on creation we'll go into, but right now we're going to focus on holy and keep everything into that context of holy. Day number 5, God created sea creatures and birds, and day number 6, beautiful day. We should all celebrate that. Day number 6 is when God decided to create something in His image. God got His hands dirty and He actually formed man. Then later on He formed woman. He formed animals. And that this day number 6 is pretty significant. Is why we're able to speak about anything with the story, right? On day number 7th, which was really the last day of creation, God decided to do something what some people say is kind of odd, really. God blessed the 7th day and He declared it holy. Catch that? It's the first time the word is used because it was the day when He rested from all His work of creation. So there you have it. God in the beginning, the creator, had 6 days to create the universe. 7th day He rested and said it was holy. And then it makes us ask the question, what is this holy? None of that answered that, right? But it gave you a good context. So let's walk through this. So the definition of holy, right? There is two Hebrew words that's used. One is kodesh, which is the noun. It means something is in the state of holy, or more literally, the state of being set apart or sacred, right? And then the other word is kadash. Kadash is the verb form of the word, and that's the process of setting something holy, the process of elevating something at a higher level. And so God is holy, but he also makes things holy. So God is Kodash, and he Kadash, making something holy. All right. So again, let's see if this can help you just understand the context a little bit. God is holy creator, which is he's a set apart creator. Man, human beings, we are the unholy creations. We are the not set apart creation. All right, there you go. So just because something is unholy doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's not God. And we'll get a little bit more into that. Or it's not set apart for God is a more literal translation. Okay? So let's think this through. Right? What unique rights does any artist have over the very art they create? I mean, think about it. If you're musicians, right, you get the beautiful job of creating music, but you get to decide how long the note will be. You get to decide what sounds it'll make. If you're a painter, you get to decide what color you paint the sky. If you're a sculptor, you get to decide how big or how small something is. Because as the creator, the artist, you actually have the full rights to determine what the object you create will look like, feel like, and in truth, what it'll be used for, right? So let's go back into our lives a little bit to see if we can make a little bit of sense out of this. What objects do you own presently that you would say, I have exclusive rights to this? This is mine and mine alone, right? And at first you might think, I'm not sure if I have something like that. I'm going to pick something that is a gimme, right? Here's what I'll say. Think of your cell phone. The thing that if you leave the house, you turn right back around and go get, right? We're so addicted to this thing nowadays, right? So imagine, right, a situation where you're in a room, right, and you're the owner of the cell phone, and there's somebody sitting next to you that is not the owner. That could be a family member, a friend, a classmate, a stranger. All I'm saying is they're not the owner, right? So, who sets the rules on phone usage? Pause, think about it. Right? And you're like, I don't care, it doesn't matter. Well, think of this scenario. How would you feel if someone answers your phone when it starts ringing? Just picks it up and just starts to answer your phone. They're like, hey, and they just pick it up. How would you feel? And they didn't even ask your permission. Would that bother you? Why? Because it's yours. And because it's yours, you get to set the rules of usage. And they violated that rule by not even asking you to just pick up your phone. That just sounds like a sin all by itself. Or give this example, right? There's two cars here. There's Kevin's, my car, right? There's mine. And then there's your car, right? So who has final say on how often and what days each car can be driven? All right? How would you feel if I came to your house and I just decided to drive your car instead of mine? What if I take your car on a road trip without telling you? What if I take it on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday without your permission? That would seem crazy, right? Because as the owner of it, you get to say how often and in what way, in what terms it can be used. Because as the owner of anything, you tend to want to possess it and determine rights of usage. The same happens here with God. See, God is the owner of the universe, and he is set apart from the universe he created because he's the owner, the creator of it. Us man, we're just the user of the things God created. Now we use the things he creates to make things, but at the end of the day we are managers and users of the things God himself made. And so here's what I want to give you as a working understanding of what the Bible means by the term holy. It's anything where God decides to retain ownership rights to. Most of the times when God creates things, he says, here, you have it. But every so often, God will say, I will keep the ownership rights on this. It will still be mine. And when God decides to say it's his, then what that means is anything that's his holy. And so God's stuff is equal to holy stuff. Like if I was to say Kevin's stuff, is Kevin's stuff, right? I'm sorry, I have another way of saying that. Right? But when something is, and God says it's mine, I have ownership for it, then it becomes holy stuff. Right, so you have like holy people, and you'll see this, in Matthew 27:52, or in Acts 3:21, or in Romans 8:27, when he talks about holy people, the saints, New Testament, or in the Old Testament, where God says, the children of Israel was his own people. Whenever he took ownership of them, they became holy. You had holy feast days, and God talks about a holy temple, and Matthew 4:5 and Matthew 27:53 talks about a holy city, and you got the holy scriptures in Romans 1:2. You have things and objects that God designated that was holy. You got the Holy Spirit that Jesus promises that's going to come back to us. I mean, the Bible, for hundreds of Bible verses, reference holy, because anytime God says it's mine, mine meant holy. All right, so you're going, well, why does this matter? Okay, great question. Glad you asked, right? In the last 3 minutes, let's see if I can walk you through this, right? So, here's what we have. Why does it matter? All right, the set apartness, the holiness of the Creator from everything created is an unshakable identity of God. If you do not accept that identity, that God is the creator and we are the creations, and if you do not start from that place, then you actually are missing the very identity of God. And there is an eternal destiny that's based on this. The eternal destiny is based on God knowing us. He either knows us as respecting God as holy, set apart, superior to us, or he's knowing us as rebelling against his holiness, the holiness of him as creator and Lord, him being set apart from us as creator and Lord. This is significant. I mean, this is a big deal. See, the creator, he is above. We are below. We are the created things. The creator is superior. He is set apart. He's above, and we are the inferior, not to each other. We're not inferior to each other, but we are inferior in reference to our creator. Here we are, there's the creator. This is an important thing to understand and accept if you are to accept who God really is. And the very first thing this creator God says is holy. This creator God decides to put the mantle of holiness on. It's not a thing. It's not a place. It's not even a person. The first thing our creator places his ownership rights on is time. There are 7 days in that first week. And God is like, you can have the rest. You can have 6 of those days. But the 7th is holy. It's set apart just for me. That's what it says. Let's go there. It says right there, Genesis 2, verse 3. And God blessed the 7th day and declared it holy, because it was the day when he rested from all his work of creation. Now you can accept this, or you can reject this, or you can deny it, but I need you to understand that this is before sin entered the world. This is before any kind of mistakes happen. This is why God says everything is perfect. So this is his perfect plan. This is his perfect way of looking at the world. And the way he looked at it was, this thing called time is holy on a certain day. It's a God idea. And so I get it. This is not a topic that most people understand. And I know. So if you want to learn more about what God means when he says that, I have a holy day, or the Lord's day, this is the day that Jesus himself, he called it Sabbath. right? That's where it comes from in the Bible. If you're confused by this, I actually wrote a book about this, and this book, man, this thing took me 7 years of blood, sweat, and tears. It's designed not for some religious churchy person, because the truth is, Sabbath is not about going to church. Okay, Sabbath is about an entire day. It's not about 3 or 4 hours of a church service and singing and a sermon. The Sabbath God talks about is about intimacy and sweetness. Oh, it's so sweet. That's why I hate when people make all this religious stuff, because God doesn't set something apart as holy and it's now like some kind of punishment or something. And so if you want to order a copy of my book, you can get it on rawintimacy.com. And the book's titled Raw Intimacy: Sabbath equals Saturday equals the Lord's Day. Above all else, I pray this spoke to you. I pray this brings clarity, that God clings to an understanding and a definition of holiness in connection to ownership. Holy and ownership goes together. And so the owner, if it's God, makes it holy. And so it's not the person offering it, it's the person of God. If God says this is mine, mine is holy. So if God says you are his, that means you are holy. And this is important to understand. I pray you be blessed, be encouraged, be lifted up in Jesus' name.